Chemistry Room Fragrances is the perfect addition when elevating the vibe of any space. Whether if it's your home, car, or office, and something needs a quick refresh, our room fragrances provide that beautiful burst of fragrance with just one quick mist. Shop now at www.chemistryroomfragrances.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Chemistry Room Fragrances. Chemistry Room Fragrances. Smells so good. Hey everybody, what's going on?
Oh, you talking to them? Sorry.
Oh my God. This is going to be a very eventful conversation, so I'm super excited to have you guys on. First of all, I'm just humbled and honored to have you both here. Phenomenal conversation. Before we get into anything, I first want to welcome everyone for joining us tonight here on the SpeakHer Podcast. I'm your host, Camille Essick. Tonight's episode is sponsored by Good Black Men, because good black men still exist, because all of them are not bad. We have journals here, guys. They are here now. Get the merchandise. I have t-shirts, sweatshirts. Grab it now. The scent of the night is fresh linen. Grab it right now. Go to www.chemistryroomfragrances.com and get yours today. Trust me, y'all, it smells so good. Period. And with that being said, if you are late joining us, this is Camille S. I am host of the SpeakHer Podcast. The podcast, thank you, Reese. Thank you, guys. This is the SpeakHer Podcast, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Excuse me, if you've been tuning in the entire month of February, I've been doing heart and soul conversations where we've been celebrating Black love, all things concerning love and marriage. Next Tuesday at 8 p.m., I'm hosting a singles panel. So trust me, that is a conversation you don't want to miss. The guests will be announced later on this week. So if you want to stay in the loop, go to my website at thespeakerpodcast.com and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essick. That way you know what exactly is going on. With further ado, I have Reverend and Reese Ponder. They are here. A little backstory. I met Reese when we were in NJS, Naval Justice School. We were being groomed to be paralegals for the JAG Corps. She was one of my classmates, and we just immediately hit it off. Her energy, she's just a natural, very charismatic person, really sweethearted person, very much of a go-getter. And throughout the whole course, a group of us, we all just stuck together. We studied together to make sure everyone passed. We kept in touch. We traveled together. We went to New York together. Turned all the way up. We had a really, really good time. Stanley, we were good. She was a good girl. And we had a good time. And just over time, even though I'm no longer in the Navy, our friendship and sisterhood grew. Times where we've encouraged each other, prayed for each other. And next thing I know, the bishop is here. And I'm like, who are they? So, and just seeing them and how they just glow up, and the glow up was real. So when I started doing this month, there were two people. I was like, I got to get them on. So here they are.
Yes.
And so, you guys, please introduce yourselves formally to the guests and listeners.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rev.
And I'm Reese.
And together we are
In Step.
So what exactly In Step? Can you guys kind of explain that and break that down, what that is?
No.
Oh my goodness, really? Okay, so he's gonna be you'll know when he gets that light on, because he'll be like, the word of the Lord says. But I'm just kidding. No, so In Step is a ministry that I believe have been just purpose to do our whole lives, but it didn't come into fruition until we actually synced up with one another. So it was actually pretty perfect. One day we were walking through the Pentagon, and it's like everywhere he stepped, I stepped, and it was totally not on purpose. And it just became a thing. We were walking the P-ways and we would always be in step. So it was natural when we got married that we wanted this to be part of our ministry, where we focused on faith, family, finances, and fitness. So anything that is associated with any one of us, absolutely, I feel like just falls in all areas. The F's. Yes.
I love it. So how do you guys meet? Kind of give us a little insight to your love journey. Like, what was that like? How did you guys meet?
I just finished talking, so it automatically fell on you. I'm just gonna say, Go ahead.
I checked on board to the Pentagon, and when you check on board, usually in the military, for those who are non-military, you pretty much walk you around so you can meet certain people that you should meet, people who you should know. And her office is an office that everybody should definitely know about. So upon me checking in, I did not have to go by there, but it said, hey, you should go by and go see the MCPON's office, Master Petty Officer of the Navy, so their office. So when I walked in, I forget who was there. Paul was there. And said, hey, here's our new check-in. He's just coming in from Recruit Training Command in Great Lakes. And immediately when checking in, Reese was sitting on the desk, and she said, "Oh, well, let me come up and come meet you." And she stood up to come meet me, and she's on my left side, and other people there too, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'm on display because people just looking at you, and that's all I'm gonna say.
No, go ahead.
Well, I caught her looking at me. You know how you get that one sober?
Time out. Reese.
Listen, we're in a whole uniform.
So I'm in uniform.
Okay.
And she gives me a one sober, and she said, "What do you go by?" And I said, "Well, everybody calls me Rev." She's like, "Oh, and you saved." Oh, and I was like, "Yeah." So when I left, I now know, I didn't know then, that her coworkers were like, I know what you, she was talking about me. And she said, he's really well put together.
I did say that.
And the coworkers were like, I can see what you mean. He really is well put together. And I don't know what that was. If that was code word for we're in the military, we're in uniform.
Yes. And it was just laying real nice. Like it was laying. It was laying, sis. Listen, people, it was laying. But the thing is, it's not even a hindsight. It's always 2020. Like when I saw him, I knew.
Go ahead, cry.
I knew immediately that is what God showed me 12 years ago. Right? And so we'll get into the whole relationship things. But in my previous marriage, I told my then spouse, I'm having these dreams and I see us on a pulpit. And I don't know if I'm preaching, you're preaching, I'm singing, or however it is. And he just clearly told me, he said, that's not me. And I'm like, what do you mean that's not you? Right? So when I seen him, I'm like, God, this is strange.
And I was absolutely trying not to talk to her.
Yeah.
We went on a walk in the park and everything. And she's like, it's okay if you hold my hand. I'm like, I don't think I should hold your hand. God is just letting me know that I'm like, I'm supposed to be like trying to cover you and be here for you because I heard about some stuff she's going on. Like, let me be that person. And she's like, no, you can hold my hand. No, you can give me a hug. And then I say, there's a lot of people haven't met in the Pentagon. She's like, what do you mean you haven't met? I'm like, well, I really don't know anybody. She's like, well, you don't need to know anybody else. You don't need no more friends. I'm your friend. You don't need to know nobody else. That just
all the way up.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I just didn't argue. She had this laugh, kind of serious look. It's like this. It's like, I'm your friend. It went from a laugh to a serious look, and I was like,
I was serious.
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of go back. Reese, I met you in 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've talked. Girl, you ain't call me ma'am.
I'm sorry.
And then during that time period, we shared stuff.
Yes.
As far as things. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit because this is going to open the door into where you guys are now in your marriage. So we're going to start with you, Reese. Kind of give us a little backstory on just your life, just like a little summary, a little snapshot.
It's going to be a snapshot because I'm not crying today. But listen, so pretty much born at the altar of a Baptist church, right? So I grew up in the church, and it was thought to, if you do this, then you have to do this. Meaning, like, if you're going to be intermingling with somebody, that's going to be your husband, right? So it's kind of like everybody that I intermingle with, it's either I was trying to marry them or I got married to them. Hence the 2 marriages before, right? I did not want, and that was just based on what people could see on the outside, had nothing to do with internally, right? And again, that's why in step is birth, redemption, and reconciliation, right? So I got pregnant really young, even though I was the leader of the then inspirational choir, youth member, all these things, right? Really active in the church, honor roll kid, graduated early from high school, just really was on a path according to, I guess, what my family desired, maybe what the church had in mind for me, right? And as soon as I was outside of what, the parameters that they provided, it was like a all stop. Like, nope, you can't sing. Nope, you can't sit over there. Nope, you can't do this. You can't do that, right? And so for a while, I was just like, okay, God, I've been raised to do this. I've been raised to trust you. And then here I am in a moment of, what's the word, babe?
Desperation.
In desperation, despair, right? I felt like the church kind of turned it back on me. So I went into the arms of anybody who held their arms open, right? And it just really threw me into a roller coaster of several relationships, 2 marriages, right? Didn't want to be not married and pregnant again, right? And then the second time around, I didn't want to be intimate with a man without being married. So I prompted him to say, I said, well, I want to be with you, but I can't be with you and not be married. And I thought because he waited for me, that would, okay, men ain't really waiting for real. So the fact that he waited for me and then it still did not turn out to be what I had prayed for and hoped for, to where I couldn't be the child of God that I needed to be for myself and for the world. God kind of released me from that. I wouldn't have divorced him on my own if it had not been for them saying, you're going to DC, like right now, pick up off the ship, going to DC. If it had not been for that, I would have still been trying to figure out ways to make it work. Right. And so God had to say, you know what? I didn't let you do this thing long enough. It was my Jonah experience, I believe. I've let you do this long enough, and you've jacked it up pretty good. But hey, come on, redemption, come on, reconciliation. And he dropped me into the path of who is my ultimate covering. So that's really a snapshot.
Gotcha. And Rev, what is your backstory?
Well, my backstory is not as colorful. I did not grow up in church.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and we moved away from Atlanta in the early 80s because of the crack epidemic. So I come from a 2-parent household where a mother who just could not get her life together where she needed to be, and the strongest man in the world, a father who was hooked on drugs and alcohol. So a lot of my ideologies when it came up to not only who a man should be, but the type of woman I should marry, that shaped how I saw marriage. So I was married to somebody for 17 years, and how I saw my parents was my model home. And I thought that's how it's supposed to be. And through talking to other people, finally talking to other people, when I finally started going to church and everything, you had the older church people say, oh, happy wife, happy life. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to, that's, she run the household, and you're supposed to just sit there and listen, be well mannered and everything. And I got the feeling like y'all make it sound like I'm a puppy. So when I began to talk to other folks, not just the older crowd, this is not a hit on the older crowd, but they can only lead you based on their vision. And if their vision is limited, it's like Eli. Eli could only lead Samuel so long because his vision was waxed dim. So they gave me whatever they could And whatever they gave me was just trusting God. So I trust in God to, even though through my divorce, it was the most horrible thing I've ever been through in my life, that I can have what I want. I can pray for Rachel and not have to settle for Lee, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And you never want to pray for one thing and settle for the other thing. So in the midst of me going through the divorce and then being away for so long and sleeping in a house, this huge house where the silence can be extremely loud, coming to the Pentagon, I was really not in a means of trying to get back married, because whereas then I wanted to marry someone who was going to be good to me. As I grew in God and as I grew in relationships and understand that relational equity, my focus was make sure that I'm good for someone. So when I realized that I can be good for someone, before I could really wrap my head around it, someone was telling me, "You don't need no more friends. I'm your friend." So, that's pretty much my backstory. Everything for me happened late, and when you give God your yes, what I've noticed is that He'll get you caught up exactly where you were supposed to be if you give Him your yes.
Yeah.
So when I gave Him my yes in ministry and my relationship and my connectability with people, everything that I was lost, I got double fold, and I became to be exactly where I was supposed to be in a time period, regardless of age, regardless of region, and regardless of background, because I now talk to pastors and bishops who have churches 5,000 to 10,000, and they're asking me for my advice. Yeah. So not only is that extremely humbling, but the testimony behind that is what the old people are telling me: just trust God. And I don't want that to sound elusive, but that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
That's powerful. You guys have both said so much. I heard so many buzzwords there. One of the things I want to ask both of you is, between the period of being divorced, there's always that space where you're single. And I've never been married, but I've heard a few of my friends that have been married and divorced talk about where they were and their emotions during that time period. So and we're not pointing fingers, but how did you guys maintain your integrity in between that time? Because some people go through a divorce and like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just going to do me. So how did you guys manage to not go savage while you were waiting and staying optimistic and encouraged while you were waiting for God to bring you to each other?
Nope, I didn't. I was definitely savage. In my opinion, I was savage because I was places I knew I shouldn't have been, with people I know I shouldn't have been with, in circles and having conversations, whether it be a picture, a video, whatever it was, just totally just unsat, because I felt like if me praying didn't do it, if me fasting didn't do it, what is me waiting gonna do? So as soon as I got as soon as I got the divorce papers, it seemed like the floodgates from hell came open, not heaven. Hell came wide. Oh, I heard it didn't work out. And I'm like, and so I didn't. And I felt like that really got me to the damaged spot of thinking that I was not worthy of having a man like this. So when he found me, I was like, but I'm a little bit raggedy. And his exact words were, "The shoulders that I have were meant to bear all that you bring." And that was
we're not doing this tonight. Oh my goodness.
That was before he even knew. That was before he knew about, what happened to me as a child. That was before he knew about all the times I've been taken advantage of. That's before he knew how I had been trampled upon, whether voluntary or involuntary. He had already gave me his shoulders. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. And if I hadn't believed the enemy a long time ago, I don't know where I would be, actually. But sometimes we have a way of believing, oh, you ain't worth it. You got these kids. Ain't no man finna do that. Oh, they listen, every name that they can put, insert blank. Ain't no way a righteous, upstanding man is going to want to be with somebody with your background. And it's not about what people knew, because a lot of people didn't know what I was doing. I was in the dark. Duh. Like, I grew up in the church. Why would I let you see my sins? Right? So people didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I was dirty. I knew that I was not walking in the likeness that God would have me. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, how could I even expect God to favor me when I know that I'm not where I need to be? I'm not in a position to even have what I feel like I might be deserving, right? But then when you have church people who will tell you, girl, you got them kids, you done been like, where is the reconciliation? Where how can I serve a God who I believe will not bring me back to him even when I've messed up, right? So I didn't have no integrity, sis. I'm just be honest. The person you see standing before you today is the most solid. When I see me now, I feel like I'm more solid than anybody I've ever met in my life. Anybody, like nobody. I don't care if I have friends who've been married to the same man for 30 years. Solid. I see me solid, right? And when you see yourself solid, you can allow. When you see yourself solid, you will move things that you didn't even think. All of the thoughts that you had of yourself, but I'm not worthy. Here I am, 40, 50 years old. I ain't married, or none of the marriages that I have didn't work out. You can see yourself solid. And when you see yourself solid, all the holes that once had water pouring in and seeping out, it don't even matter.
Wow.
Patch me up.
What about you, Reverend Ponder?
I was always I had a love affair with superheroes, and Superman was my favorite hero. And it's because he is absolutely the strongest man in the room, but he's raised by wholesome people who just want to just do right and make sure that other people at the expense of himself to see them great. And I've carried that type of ideology even as a child to an adult, to whereas my goal, my mission is to make sure that I put smiles on other people's faces and to save them from whatever peril that they may be in, because I can handle whatever they can bring to me. So I've never had a if they go with the term, I've never had a savage type of lifestyle. Never had a, I'm gonna go ahead and go get with this one and get with this one and switch it up. I've never had that because number one, I believe that what I say, people do. And I know that when I say something, people believe it. I was very aware of that gift. So I'm very careful about what I say. Therefore, I did not want to damage anybody and have that to be a thing that I have to give an account to. So I became extremely aware of my power. Again, like Superman. If you know you can break someone's hand, why would you shake it that hard? And if you know you could hurt someone's heart, don't enter into something where it can leave them broken. So I either stayed away from things that would be like kryptonite, or my focus was to be, if I go into here, my goal is to bring these people out into safety. So I've never had it as a thought. Even as a child, I've always thought, man, I can't wait to be married and be someone's husband. Maybe it's because of my childhood. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of just wanting to see other people happy. But my Father in heaven made me to be a husband. And he made me even more so to be a father like him. So how can I be anything other than what I'm made to do?
Yeah.
That's good. I wish we had more. I'm pretty sure there are, but you don't really hear that conversation a lot. And that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation tonight. Just to, if anybody's familiar with this platform and what I do, is to pull down the stereotypes and narratives that I don't want to say ravage, but kind of haunt our community in terms of love, relationships, how we're presented, whether we're single or married, and also to open the door to show people people are not just baby mothers. There are parents out here. There's not just a boo. There are husbands out here. good Black men still exist. There are women of integrity. Everyone is not trapping a guy for a Gucci bag. And we have to continue to control the narrative. So thank you guys for sharing that with me here tonight. One of the things you guys said that really stuck out to me, you guys are really transparent. So can you kind of unpack a little more about the importance of transparency in your marriage? Because Reese, you came with a lot, and like I said before, things that we shared, times before, growing up, different things with abuse and certain things that happened to you as a child. So particularly with women that come through life with scars and wounds, and then you get into a relationship or marriage, how do you make yourself to be where you're willing to be vulnerable, to be loved when you've experienced hurt, rejection, self-esteem, other things, and to be transparent in the marriage and say, hey, I'm not perfect. This is where I am. This is what it is. Or do you love me?
You want to answer, or I can go first and then you? Listen, when I say see yourself solid, I didn't see myself solid like right away. I remember we had a conversation. I was living in Hanover, and I was telling him some things because he had told me that his shoulders were heavy, but I was like, I don't know how big their shoulders really is. Let me just tell you a little bit. And before I knew it, I had told him my life story in a matter of 4 or 5 hours one night on the phone. And this is the first time in any relationship that I've been able to tell everything. When I say everything, the stuff you tell your friends. Everything, right? And he did not flinch. I don't know if I should have been scared or not, because if he ain't flinched, that means he done did something worse, or right. He did not flinch. But at the end of the conversation, he said, I need you to repeat this back to me. And I'm like, yes. And he was like, I need you to say, I am enough. And I was like, what? He said, say, I am enough. And I'm like, huh? And I said it. He said, say it again. And I think I might have said it like 50 times. By the time I got to 49 and a half, it was a whole ugly cry.
Did you have your hands up? Did you have your hands up?
Hey, shake it down. Listen. And it was a way of saying, because I've said things my whole life.
Yes.
Again, I was born in the church. We say things our whole life, but it's not until you believe it that something happens, right? And so, again, we are dispelling the myths of religion, tradition as well, and our ministry and outreach, right? Transparency is not for them. It's for you. It's not. When you feel like you got to hide something, you can't be yourself.
Right.
Man, let me tell you, I can walk up in a room now. You just said the other day, babe, when people say, hey, I heard that about you. Yeah, that's probably true. And keep it moving. Right. But when we live in such a way that we're worried about what people feel about us, then we're not able to be free. And the man I know says to be free.
Yeah, it's a cage.
Yeah.
It's an arrested development, if you will. Ooh. Because people will say a thing to you, both positive and negative. Oh, you're such a strong woman. You've always been strong in the family. So now your best friend can die, your parents can die, and all these bad things can happen. But now you're stuck into this characteristic that I'm the strong one, and this is what strength looks like. I don't show any tears, and I don't show any moments of, and I've never heard the Lord. I mean, you check the whole Bible, all 66 books. The Lord never said you will have to be strong indefinitely. He would tell people to be strong for a moment. Mm-hmm. He would tell people to be strong for a particular situation, but not strong indefinitely. And you get arrested into that development. So now you don't know what it means to truly be strong and truly to let yourself go. Now it's looked at into the opposite. People will say the things like, well, I heard you out there doing X, Y, and Z. And this, that, and the other. And now you're feeling like, well, now let me hide myself, or worse, well, let me explain. Let me tell everybody. I just tell folks now, believe it all. The good and the bad and the ugly. Go ahead and believe it. If you heard I was out there smashing about 10, 15 girls on a party bus, believe it. Just believe it. Because at the end,
what does it do?
What does that mean? What I say? What do you got to do with the price of tea in China? That ain't got nothing to do with me being right here at this moment. And if it did have something to do with this moment, if I did all that and I'm right here right now, you might want to listen to me, because I can probably help you get from where you at. So look at to me as being Moses, and where you at as being Exodus. And what we're going to do, we're going to pull you all the way out of Egypt. Now, the good thing about what you said was, you said, how do you be transparent. You need people like Moses, who had to go through the wilderness in 40 years by himself. That means that he is experiencing the wilderness alone. And then he gets a mentor, Jethro, to be able to him to navigate what's going on. So he had to have all these bad things happen to him and somebody show him the way. Then he went back and got his people. Now, when he got his people this time, he didn't have a guide. So when it was getting worried and things like that, he said, "Hey, don't eat that, eat this, because I've been down this road. Hey, when you go over here, this if you get thirsty, you use this fruit, use this plant right here for water. Or hey, if we walk at this time of day, you get away from the sandstorms." The things you go through is you become a personal GPS guided by God. God's plan steps, so that way when people are going through, you can say, "I've been where you're trying to go. Let me guide you through that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
And at your next available time, you need to make a U-turn." So you don't have to. When people talk about transparency, they're afraid about what they're going to say. But if we're truly honest about the word that we study from, there is not one scatheless person in the word that we continue to quote. Even Jesus is still referred to as a son of David. And didn't David get a whole dude killed?
Had a whole lot going on.
He got a whole dude killed just so he can sleep with his boo thing. Yeah. So it's like how we're going to present ourselves and not be completely honest and just say, you know what, here's who I am. Take me how that is. You will have more people to flock to you, because the ministry of Me Too, in another fashion, that helps, because folks need to say, "Man, I'm really having issues with pornography. You know what? Me too. I'm really having some bad times when it comes to these drugs and all these other stuff. You know what? Me too. I don't know if I'm ever going to get married. I don't know if anybody will ever love me. And, I'm going through this. You know what? Me too." The Me Too ministry is the greatest ministry of all, because it says that you're not in a position by yourself. Moses, I know what that's like. Let me help to navigate you. Even if it's just for a moment, I can help you get through this thing. Not by yourself. I'm not sending you through. I'm walking you through.
Yeah.
So people need that. And the greatest of all people are the ones who are transparent. And we have to know that we read our Bible as a mirror, not a pointer. Yeah. So it's a reflection of us. Yeah. And if you can't be a reflection of God to other people and be transparent, my question is, what you doing?
That's really good. I'm going to pivot just a little bit. You both are in leadership positions within the military. And so this question, I guess this is a two-part question. The first part is for you, Reese, as far as being a woman that is in leadership, and, we're alpha females. And how do you balance that feminine energy versus being the leader in the world? So how do you balance your feminine energy at home when you're a leader or a boss in the world?
My feminine energy is nurtured in my home. My home is my solar system. So when I go out, it's not me going out in the world being big, 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 and then coming home and being small. No, I'm big, big, big home. And when I get out there, I can be even bigger, right? The same. And so I was kind of confused. I was doing some studying on feminine energy. And I think that we as a people, cultural or otherwise, we're so big into labels. The labels divide us more than they define us. Right? And so I was asking Babe, feminine energy, do I have that? He was like, you got energy. Like masculine energy. Do you see his face? Do you see it? Right? But homeboy can bench press a whole lot. Like, don't let it fool you, right? And so I think when it comes into feminine energy, if we want to go with that word, it's nurtured here. And when you're in a union or partnering with somebody, you want to make sure that your ebbs and flows, like they're matching in a way that I don't ever feel like I'm less than. Even though when you talk about submit, sure. Right? And be with somebody that will cover down on you in such a way that when they provide guidance, you're like, got it. Compass, got it. Yeah. Like, and not second guess it. If I have to second guess what he's telling me, then I am then questioning, God, do I believe this is who you brought to me? Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's how I feel like I'm able to channel my feminine energy, if that's the word we want to use, where I can be vulnerable I don't have to be chief at home. I don't want to be chief at home. Like, I really don't want to be chief at home. But, I don't want to have those type of titles be a definitive thing within our household. I just like being Chewy or Coco, to be honest. Like, I do. Everything else is really just extra. And he makes me feel confident in those things. I was sad because the other day, because our 22-year-old birthday was the other day, and I was like, babe, I'm just really sad. This is the first time I've been away from him on his birthday. He was like, babe, go ahead and feel your feelings, right? And I'm like, for real? So I'm able to be masculine in my femininity.
Oh, that's a lot of ends.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it, girl.
So yeah.
The kids are watching. I need y'all to behave. Okay. Okay, Rev, for you, question in reverse, because you know what she's gone through, how do you lead in love as a husband? Because she threw out the word submission, which is something I wanted to interject into this conversation. A lot of guys take that word and they use submission in terms of dictatorship. Like, I'm the man, you listen to me, I'm the head. But can you really kind of unpack leading in love and define what real submission is? And it's not dictatorship, but what is that?
Got it. So I never have to walk in the house and tell everybody I'm the man in this house. Nor do I have to go home and say I'm Master Chief. I don't have to do that. Who I am and my presence. If you take the titles and the ranks from all these people will naturally follow the people where they feel safe. So I don't know how to lead other than to be in love. I don't know how to do that other than that. I know we went somewhere. We went to a pool at a hotel, and I'm sitting there telling my son and my nieces go ahead into the pool, and they looking at me like, you going to that pool? I ain't going into that water. So I'm like, okay. So first I went out to the water first, and I got to a safe spot. And before I could turn around good enough, they were right behind me, even to the point where, oh, Uncle's here, Daddy's here. They're going over into the fifth, the 5 foot, and I had to pull them back. Leading is love. How can you lead somebody less you love them? Because you're making sure you're prepping the battle space to make sure, okay, let me make sure that there's no rocks in this pool, that the temperature is just right. And before I tell y'all to come on in first, I need to be in that water too. I cannot be in a place or in a situation or in an environment where I'm allowing people to come and follow me unless I know it's safe. Even being in the military, when I'm controlling a battalion of men, I'm going out there first. I'm the first to dismount off the vehicle through 5s and 25s around that vehicle to make sure that there's no IDs and everything. Hey, thumbs up, we are safe. We can proceed on. My family is just the same way. You cannot lead unless you love the people you're leading. If not that, you're just managing. And you're just managing people saying, go do this and go and do that. Well, great. You can be a good manager, but you can only manage things, systems, and processes, but you cannot manage people. You can only love them to lead them. If you don't love them, how can you lead them? When people say, well, you need to submit to me, I don't have to ask my wife to submit, because when she sees me, she says 3 things. She's sanctity, safety, and security. Sanctity, that she knows that I'm connected to my Father. In order for me to even get to know her, I got to talk to the one who made her. She sees safety, that I'm not going to do something that's going to make her feel like, oh my gosh, and then how are we going to do this and how we're going to do that? Or I'm not going to introduce anything into the relationship that's going to make her feel insecure in some type of way, which goes into the security space. I'm more than just this silverback walking around here beating his chest and ensuring that nobody who comes around is going to come near. But I'm also beating myself away, that when it's time for me to hide away, I'm saying, baby, now is the time, because my head is messed up. I'm upset and things of that nature. And she'll come and say, okay, lay your head right here. Let me give you some space. Let me give you some peace. I don't have to ask my wife. I don't have to even assume it. When I walk into a room, everybody will step to exactly where they're supposed to be. That sounds arrogant, but it's not. And listen to what I said. When I walk into a room, everybody that's supposed to be where they're supposed to be, they will fall to. They will see me immediately. Sir, there's something about you that said you was a pastor, that you had a word for me. Sir, for whatever reason, you have an answer for this situation. I don't have to ask. Whatever is assumed does not have to be spoken. And so when I walk into a room on yellow footprints that are already there, everywhere I stand is an altar, and everywhere I walk is a pulpit. So when I walk into a room, whether it be the room of my house or the room of my job, everybody will go directly where they're supposed to go.
Boy.
You either command the space out of love, or the space will command you. But I don't have to announce everybody, hey, just want to let everybody know I'm Master Chief. I didn't do that. I walk around here with these goals in my mouth with my A-Town hat tipped to the side, and I'm still getting the same respect as a Master Chief. I don't got to announce anything. Who you are will exude out, and people will immediately know we feel safe here. Why? Because he's over there.
Yeah.
I never forget getting on a plane and this old white lady in the South just nestled up next to me and everything. And I'm like,
what's her name?
Susan?
It was Susan?
I don't know her name. I'm like, she's like, I don't know what it is, sir, but I just feel safe next to you. I'll never forget that. I will never forget.
We're gonna go find it. We're gonna wait until after the show though. We'll go.
Girl, she probably somewhere petting her cats.
He's silly.
But no, it's just that for a man to demand for a woman to submit is because there's an insecurity within himself that he has not prepped the battle space. He does not know where it was going on, and he has not led her to sanctity, safety, and security. If you ain't got those things, who are you submitting to? You're asking somebody to go into a thing blind, and you haven't given them any type of direction. Even while I am blind, I can listen to a GPS, and GPS will tell me at your next available turn. You follow what I'm saying? So why am I submitted? So submission means that, okay, I know you have a plan, and I see the vision, I see the plan, and even if I don't see it, I trust you. You can't submit to something you don't trust. So if a man is worried about women not submitting, you got to ask yourself,
can she trust me?
Who has ruined her trust?
Yeah.
And have you earned her trust? Because like the pastor said one time, that trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Yeah. I mean, once you lose it, you poured out a whole bucket full. But if you want to earn it back, set that bucket under that leaky faucet and let drops happen. Yeah. So if there's a word to put in that, it will be patience. You want the submission. Do you have the patience to warn off anything that has gotten onto her and earn that back? Yeah. Hence, you cannot be careless in breaking people, because somebody will get them and fix them. But they're going to have even more patience because you broke them. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for your patience, baby.
You're welcome, baby.
You did. That was really, really good. We're going to take a little break here because you guys are just dropping so many jewels of us. We're going to do a little icebreaker game, okay? Ooh. So you guys have your card, right? And your Sharpies. I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions. We'll do 2 or 3 just to see how well you two really know each other, okay?
Okay.
All right. First question. Who is the more comical one? And then you have to write your answers on the card and hold it up.
What is it?
Okay, so that's your name, Chewy. Okay. Next question. Who is the quickest to apologize?
Oh, Lord. Sorry. Really?
I think you are.
You do?
You know, it takes me a minute, babe. I get quiet and I'll be like, okay, let me just sit over here for a second.
Okay, just before we continue, just use your government names because we confused. We don't know who Chewy and Buka are. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So, Reverend.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Got it. Sorry.
We like Book. Okay, I know, but I'm like the people like who?
Rev and Reese.
Got it.
Okay. Next question. Who is more quick-tempered?
You say quick-tempered?
I have braces on. Yes. I'm sorry. Who is quick-tempered? Okay. Let's see. Who is the spoiled one? He's looking at me like, are you serious?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why is that even a question?
That was question. That wasn't even a question. Why'd you even ask that? Okay. Last question. Who said I love you first? Oh.
Oh. This is why I love.
Okay, really, really good. So before we get back into part 2, I want to thank everyone for joining us here. This is Camille Essick. I am host of the SpeakHer Podcast, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Tonight we have Reverend and Reese Ponder here, and we are celebrating all things love and marriage throughout the month of February as we continue the heart and soul conversations. So with that being said, before Reese comes back, just as a reminder, the good Black Men merch is available now here on the website. If you are a subscriber, all new subscribers get 10% off. Just go to my website and use the code THANKYOU10 to receive 10% off your first purchase. And that's all merchandise. And also Chemistry Room fragrances. Tonight's scent is fresh linen. Reese has a bottle. Smells really good. I think Reese, is that lemon drop or butter rum?
Girl, I had to get the lemon drop from downstairs.
Okay. So before we go on, what was your lemon drop experience like?
Listen, when I sprayed, this changed everything. Like, I don't care if it's dirty laundry up in here. He don't let it get to be no dirty laundry because he washes clothes every day. Anyway, but when I want him to, like, I make up the bed and, sit, and I be like, and it just smells so clean. And you know what? I've missed, and I didn't wear it as perfume, but I kind of spray it and then just like dab in that thing. And then when you smell my hair, you be like, "Oh, what that is? Can I put it on my hair?" I asked her, could I eat it one time? And she was like, "Please don't eat it, Reese." I was like, "Oh."
Don't do that. I mean, it is essential oils. You can use it on your sheets, pillows, whatever. Lemon drop is still our number one bestseller. I have a few fragrance, but you guys are just absolutely loving lemon drop, and I'm super appreciative of everyone supporting me in that venture. And I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it as well. So thank you. And I need to get some more tea. I'm almost out. Like, I'm at the end, so I need you to send me the link so I can re-up as well. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. So that's my friend, y'all. You have to excuse us. When we get together, we kind of cut up a little bit. Okay. So moving right along. So you guys are also in ministry together and you're in the military. So let's go into part 2, discussing the reality of marriage. When I was a paralegal there in California, and I started out in family assistance before I moved over to the trial department, there's so much that you see when you work in legal assistance when it comes to family law. And I learned very quickly working in that department before I came to the trial office. The military can destroy a marriage. I've seen craziness. So how do you guys hold it together? Because, you have one that may promote, one doesn't. I've seen marriages where one of the spouses is jealous because the other one made bored, whatever. And it just can get crazy on top of things that happen in deployment, on debts. So how do you guys maintain your marriage while serving active duty in the Navy?
Well, I think the most important thing is that people get focused on purpose and not position. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at the position, then behold, you'll get it, or you may get it, and it'll be it's elusive, so it'll be taken away from you in some type of fashion. But you can never stop somebody who is focused on who has a purpose. Mm-hmm. I know people who pray for promotions, and which is a position, and without an adequate answer as to what they're going to do when they get it, they either lose it, or it becomes they become a tyrant.
Vain, yeah.
So it's important that you have vision, not just sight, not just, oh, I can't wait to get here. Well, what is your vision? What is your purpose? And so when it comes up to relationships, people who want to survive in the military and be dual military, you have to first have a mission and a purpose for your relationship. Yep. That will, and that is infectious. It will be infected and affected in the marriage, outside, in the community, outside in the military, and everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
So if your vision, your purpose, and your mission is all in sync and all in line, then it really doesn't matter. That means the people who are going to get promoted will get promoted based on the purpose. If that means the people who are going to get to duty stations based on the purpose and the vision and the mission. And everybody else who is successful in a company have a mission statement, have a motto, have a purpose. They have it all drawn out and written down. If you go and talk to a CEO at NASA, he said, we are going to put a man on the moon, all the way down to the janitor. Well, what do you do here, sir? Well, I put a man on the moon. If the janitor and the person at NASA all is trying to do the same thing, then it doesn't matter what position you're at, because the purpose is to put a man on the moon.
Yeah.
So when you get into a relationship, to a marriage, I don't care if I'm doing all the cleaning and people say, that's not a man's job, and whatever you want to say, believe it all. Like I said, the purpose of our relationship is to make sure that everybody is in step.
Yeah.
So that way, when God is calling out the cadence, even if you get out of sync just a little bit, if you can just get your body to just get in step, everything else will fall into play. Yes, you're going to fall off. Yes, you're going to get out of step every now and again. But the purpose of our relationship far exceeds the positions that we can have in the military. This life will yet to pass on sooner or later, but your purpose will echo into eternity in such a way that everybody will know the footprints that you had while you was walking on this sand.
Don't take the words out my mouth, sir. You did.
Well, here's the words back. There you go, girl.
Appreciate it.
I'm proud.
Yep. What he said, and just to add, I really consider my marriage ministry, and I'm always wanting to have it to where if people see anything, I don't care if it's us being silly, if we in the gym, if we skipping through the parking lot, just random people see us, I want them to see, even if it's just a little glimpse of God. We have done what we're purposed to do, and my inbox overflows on the people that says, you helped me through that. you helped me. I see you, and I know where you came from, and because of that, I now trust God. Like, so being the extension of Christ is my mission of marriage. That's why I had to cuff you. I had to, because I knew with you that I could bring greater glory to God. And so when people ask, how did you meet? Before I start crying, I have to be like, God. And that's, I don't have an explanation of how somebody with my background ends up with someone, not necessarily for your background, because you had longevity, and having a 17-year marriage, that's huge. It says a lot of things, but it's huge, right? And we decided that for this union, this last time around, we want the type of marriage that when we turn 85, we still have our best friend. Right? We don't want to have longevity and not have anything else. Right? It all matters. I know a lot of people who are married and have been married, but they can't even talk about if something ain't hitting right in the bedroom because they embarrassed or ashamed. They can't talk about anything. They just going through the motions. Somebody cleaning, somebody cooking, somebody getting the kids, and it's just like, but no, like, this is my homie. Like, he's my homie, and I can be the type of silly around him. I don't have to worry about him judging me, saying, I thought you were saved. And I am. Right? Whereas I can have friends and they be like, man, Tierra, I remember when No, I don't have to worry about any I remember wins with him, because every day is completely brand new. Like, you ain't mad at me no more? Man, get out my face. Yeah.
That's really good. I love hearing you guys talk. I definitely want to have you guys come back, just because just hearing you guys, there's so many other topics coming to my mind that I would love to have you guys come on and share with us, the viewers and listeners, in the future. Before we start wrapping up, what are some takeaways or words of wisdom that you would like to give, one, to married people, and two, to single people?
You marinating?
So if for single people, I would say that instead of because I hear men and women say weird stuff, and I look at them like they're strange because none of it's going to help them in life. Like women say things like I don't need a man. I'm like that's just weird. You do because it's all about connections and union. So yes, we need each other. I don't know why people say stuff like that. That's just strange. I would say for the single people, instead of looking for someone that is good for you, ensure that you are good for someone. That has to be your ultimate goal. And when I say good for someone, being that you are prepared to be the person that you are for them at the even in the event that they cannot do anything for you. If you're not ready for that, you're not ready for marriage, period. You might be ready for a relationship. You and your boo thing can smash every now and again, but marriage is the earthly connection of what salvation is.
Yeah.
So if you understand salvation, where Jesus gave his life for the church, and the church is only here to submit. When you understand giving life and understanding the direction and the guidance of what's going on, if you understand that is a purpose. So if you're not ready to do that, then you're not ready to be married. As far as married people, I would say that you have to remember not only who you marry, because you got to be you can't look at your boo thing sideways and not think that she from Lancaster, she'll still rock your skull. So don't forget who you married, but mostly don't forget why you got married. And again, you get married to continue to show earthly people of what heaven looks like. And as a marriage, that's what you are. You are a walking depiction of what heaven looks like. That's why it warms their heart when they see a relationship and they see marriage, because that's what heaven is. Now, if you're with somebody and you don't have that, then ask yourself, what does heaven look like? Okay, ask yourself what heaven looks like and match that in your relationship. Simple. I don't want to go too long in that, but that would be my thing. So not young, but single people, be someone's peace, be someone's completeness. And when you are married, be the walking piece of heaven that you've thought of and dreamed of your whole life.
That's good, babe. He took my merit. He took my merit clause. So what I will say for the single people, divorced people, separated, widowed, when we attach something to a number, specifically, I know our clock be going off and we be like, oh, I'm this age, I'm that age, and this hasn't happened. I haven't gotten this degree. I haven't, right? We attach our success to a number, whether it be how much you make, how many children you have, if you're married, X, Y, and Z. Stop doing that. Because when we set the number in our head, it does something to us and we feel disappointed. But did God give you a number that he said you should be married by, or how many children you should have, right? So we have to make sure that our calculations are in step with the calculations that God has provided based on what he understands and knows what you're ready for, right? And so I tell my sister that. I talked to Kim about it. I'm like, girl, you are the total package. So what's missing? We have to ask ourselves that. We got to be, because I was missing some stuff. I was hella empty. I'm serious, right? And it was that one night where I really just washed my hands of everything that hurt me. I had forgiven every man. When I decided, God, whatever you say is for me is gonna be for me. And I called my pastor and said, can I be a nun? Can I just can I? He was like, no, baby, that's not how that works. You can't be a nun. I said, well, I need to not be around men, because the ones I happen to run into just be, right? But when I made up in my mind, God, whatever you show me is for me. As soon as I made up in my mind, like within a week, here comes this man walking.
Yeah, girl.
Hey. So yeah, that would be my thing. Don't attach it to a number that's in your head, but definitely seek God, and I believe that He will direct your path.
It's really good. Love it, love it, love it. So you are the queen of tea. Literally. You're literally the queen of tea. Tell us about this amazing tea. If people don't know, you're gonna know. So let them know.
I'm just saying, when you say like TT, you mean like that juicy juice? Listen, so like I said before at the beginning, everything that we do is operating on our faith, our family, our finances, and our fitness. We're not doing anything that's not in alignment with that. And that's why our marriage is so important. That's why our 6 children are so important. Everything connected to that. And then fitness is so important, not just because of our job, but we just grow up living in a church culture where people just ain't healthy. They ain't, right? They can cook a mean potato salad, chicken casserole, be on point, right? But we're not healthy. And if we're not indeed healthy, how can we be the vessels that God desired for us to be? So I was able to tap into this business called Bye Bye Belly, where they sell plant-based products. And it is amazing. It's allowed me to get all the COVID and happy married weight off, and it still leave me looking a little delicious. Right. So I'll definitely make sure I get that information out, so people who may be struggling in their area, whether it's from depression, anxiety, we just got so many things going on. I was able to find something that has been able to help me and the people I love. I trust it. Is certified by the bodybuilder. Got him extra mean, looking green and stuff. But no, and thank you for your support in that as well, Cam. It is so important for us, as whether we're entrepreneurs, first-time business owners, to when we partner with one another, that we truly support and be able to show our community what support looks like. If you say you support somebody, but you ain't got none of their stuff in your house, do you? If you scroll through your social media and you ain't shared not one thing off their page, can you say that you support them? Come on, we got to get in step, right? And we got to be about what God has purposed us to be, and learn in our community and in our culture that what support really looks like. And that will bleed over into everything you do. It will bleed over to your faith. It will bleed over into your family, your fitness, and your money. If your money looking strange, start supporting other people and see how God opens up a window of heaven. If your money looking funny, take your last $2 and give it to the man that needs some money on the side of the road, and watch how it gets replenished. If your money looking funny, meet a need of a random person on Facebook when you see they struggling. Hey, Cash App is been the best blessing business I could ever imagine. So definitely thank you so much, Karen, for your support. Can't wait to see you in front of all other magazines.
Girl, it's only because I really believe in you and what you do. You've always been a phenomenal sister and friend. So it's like, how could I not? Yeah, I bought tea from you, about to buy some more. It tastes good. It's easy to make. So definitely I'm re-upping my supply. So where can people connect with you? First of all, what are your social media handles? So if they want to know more about InStep and get more information, or just your online Bible classes about marriage.
Talk about it so I can put it in the chat, baby. Tell them, Daddy.
So you can email us for your prayer requests, and just I don't know if it'd be counseling. It could let's just call it couple fellowship, or some peer fellowship at getinstep@yahoo. And as far as social media goes, we're on Instagram, and
that's it, because we kind of old a little bit, but that's all right, Cam. We're gonna get with
Instagram,
you so you can make us fancy.
And Facebook.
Yeah.
And InStep.
Yep, InStep LLC.
Yeah, InStep LLC for both of those handles.
And Dream Chasers is a nonprofit organization where we're giving out scholarships and grants to high school students seeking higher learning, and business grants to first-time business owners who have had their business established for less than a year. We're giving out money, y'all. We need y'all to apply. I'm gonna drop that in the link to me.
Yeah, because I'll post it on the screen so people can also see it on the replay as well.
Yeah. We want to let you know that for Dream Chasers, that money is coming out of the hard-working service members who are standing guard in some terroristic country. It's not from some trust fund or somebody who is rich. that is coming from hard working class boot kickers.
Yeah.
So us, that's where that's where the money's coming from. Do we have people who donate? Great, but
Yes.
we're not asking anybody to do what God has purposed for us to do. But if you want to get on this train, get on ahead and jump aboard.
Definitely. And like I said, I do want to bring you two back. You guys have given so much wisdom, and I don't know about anybody else, but my heart is full right now just with all just the nuggets and gems. Like, I'm like, wow, I definitely need to bring them back for sure. So thank you so much. I'm honored to have you two here. And for those that missed it, hey, we can catch the replay. It'll be available at midnight tonight on YouTube. Be sure to tap in, bring a friend, and let someone know they missed it. Next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to close out the Heart and Soul Conversations for the month of February, I am hosting a singles panel. You already know it's going to be all the way live. The singles we are representing next week, all the married people, you've had all the other Tuesdays, but next Tuesday it's our turn, okay?
Can we tap in though? Can we tap in and share?
Yes, please drop in. We still need that marriage wisdom in the comments. So even if you are married, booed up, whatever, please join us. We definitely want to have you guys there. It's hard out here, okay? It's rough. Lord have mercy. Y'all pray our strength in the Lord, okay? So be there next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. That will be Eastern Standard Time, Central Time, 7 p.m. To make it simple, if you live in North Carolina, on out, that's 8 o'clock. If you live in Tennessee or Texas, that area, 7 o'clock, okay? So just make it simple for you. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is your girl, Camille Essex, host of the SpeakHer Podcast. Y'all, these braces wearing me out. The podcast where innovators and creators connect. You guys be blessed. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.